Ciao, Henry.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's video, we're gonna go over my 2018 Raptor, go through some of the stuff that I bought it used, go through some of the stuff that the previous owner had put on it, what I've done since, just a general overview. But right now, it's looking kind of dirty. So I think it's time for a little music montage and a little cleaning. Stay tuned. All right, let's do a walkthrough of the truck. 2018 Ford Raptor 802A package. I bought this truck from a dealership in February of this year for $65,000. So the initial overview will be of what the truck came with when I bought it. The previous owner had modified it by quite a bit, or had modified it quite a bit. So we'll do that first, and then we'll go back through it front to back with the modifications that I've done. I'll show you the engine bay, show you the interior, just so you get a sense of what this truck looks like. The only two options this truck does not have from the factory are the rear decals and the bed liner. So I wouldn't have normally chosen decals at all. I think it's a crazy expensive option, or it actually also has carbon fiber package, which I wouldn't have done. I will say though, that now that I own the truck, and I'm biased obviously, the carbon fiber package and the front hood decals are actually a pretty nice option. The reason why I love the front decals as much as I do is because you can set your soda, your barley soda on top here without worrying too much about the paint. So we'll start at the front, work our way back, give you a general overview of the truck. Starting at the front of the truck, first and foremost, Rigid Series D fog light kit. Previous owner installed these and love them. They're fantastic. They're hooked up to the auxiliary switches. What's interesting about this setup, for whatever reason, they decided to swap the fog light, the DOT approved fog light, with the spotlight. And Rigid says they should be swapped. The spot should be on the inside and the DOT approved should be in the middle. However, that being said, when I initially bought the truck, I was going to swap them out. Been driving it for 5,000 miles or so now, and I wouldn't switch it. I wouldn't change it. It works great. It may be swapping them and trying a test, I'm not too sure, but having that spotlight totally unobstructed, I think makes a big difference for that particular spotlight. So I'm gonna leave it and have left it as it is. So that's the Rigid Series D fog light kit. Moving on back, we have the Icon Vehicle Dynamics 17-inch rims. I've had, on the previous truck, I had some Fuels, a less expensive wheel, and I will say that the paint on these is holding up way better. The cap, nothing is flaking, nothing's changing color. If you're thinking about wheels and you want to have them for a long time, obviously I love the look of these, but the quality of the Icon wheel is one of the best I've ever owned, so fantastic. By the way, the owner has a full-size spare of this wheel up underneath the back of the truck, so that's a major bonus. Keen viewers may notice the lack of a fixed running board. Well, that's because the previous owner had installed Amp Research Power running boards. Major upgrade that I didn't have to do or pay for, sorta, didn't have to pay for. But I love the clean look of not having those factory running boards. So huge upgrade, major bonus for a used truck buyer like me. It did lead to some other issues, which I'll talk about a solution to potentially, but you can see the rear fender is getting quite marked up. And that's because when you don't have that running board down there, you don't have that protection, if you will, running down there to keep rocks and whatever else from bouncing up here and nicking the crap out of this. So it's a truck. I use it like a truck. Take it off-road, take it in the woods, I do desert running with it, and I don't really care. But that being said, let's move on to the back. We have a Leer canopy with some tule racks, and I had done a video previously about Leer versus Snug Top, and it's one of my most watched videos. And this particular Leer, the quality is fantastic. I think Snug Top bought Leer. I think they're owned by the same company. And my sense is that what happened is when that purchase or transaction happened, a lot of the quality that you would typically see in a snug top leaked into the Leer. This is a great canopy. It's built a lot better than the Leer on my 2015 F-150 Platinum. So if you're thinking about Leer versus snug top, watch that video again, but also understand that I think they're really close. Although I haven't seen or tested or played with, if you will, a 2020-ish snug top. This is probably a 2018 Leer, but really happy with it. Moving on to the back. We've got a Ford factory bed liner, probably made by Bedrug. And this is how I set up this is how I would set up all my trucks anyway. So so many of these modifications, all the modifications that the previous owner had done, I was going to do myself anyways. So that's the Leer and the Bedrug. I do have a tailgate step on here. The only two factory options that this truck doesn't have is the bed liner and the rear decals. It actually has the front decals, which I'll show you real quick. And because it's black, you can hardly notice them. Normally it's not an option I would pick, but they look pretty good. That's pretty much everything the factory, or excuse me, that the previous owner had installed. And let's go next to the inside of the truck just to get an overview. Then after that, let's talk about what I've done to it since. Let's move to the inside. Nothing real special to see here. A couple things to note. One is the carbon fiber package. Not something I would have ever ordered or checked a box on the factory. I gotta tell you though, now that it's here, and I didn't have to quote unquote pay for it, I love it. I get a lot of compliments on it. It's up to you whether or not you think it's too cheesy, but I think it's subtle enough. For whatever reason, it's good carbon fiber. If I'm honest, I think it's a stupid amount that Ford wants to charge you for that option. I think it's $900, but straightforward, nothing special, sunroof. I did do the Pro Clips and Panavice mount combo like I did on my previous video, where I kind of did a hybrid of the Pro Clips and the Panavice. So the phone holders are Pro Clips, and the this mechanism right here is a Panavice. Made a combo of those two because I thought that was the best looking situation. The Bang & Olufsen sound system blows the Sony way, in my opinion. Everybody's ears are different though, but that's about it. That's the carbon again. I get a lot of compliments on it, so, which isn't why I got it or I would buy it, but see, people seem to like it. It doesn't look super cheesy, and the truck is certainly fast enough to justify it in my opinion. That's it. All right, let's talk about what I've done to it since I've owned it. Previous owner, in my opinion, did an amazing job. Like I'd mentioned before, everything that he did, I would have done anyways, so lucky me. I'd mentioned before about the chips on the rear quarter panel, and the reason why that happens is because the fixed running boards are gone, so you don't have that protection that runs down the length of the truck to keep that from happening as much as it does. It happens regardless, but this is pretty severe for a truck that's got 20,000 miles on it. That being said, I installed some Rally Armor mud flaps, front and rear. About $300. They're kind of stupid expensive, but they work really well, in my opinion. They look pretty good. Maybe you didn't notice them, maybe you did, not too sure. But they work fantastic. They're well built, they're well respected in the industry, and I can see why. So before I had these on, notwithstanding the marks on the rear quarter, I'd go off-roading and I'd have mud splatter that would ran from here all the way up to just about the top of the number pad. Since I put these on, that mud splatter now is just below the door handle. So from a protection standpoint, I think they're working good. They would look, I think, in my opinion, I think they look good, and really happy with those. So that's one. The other thing I did is the previous owner had installed a 2.5-inch readylift puck kit, leveling kit, and I hated it. And I hate pucks. I can't stand pucks. So if you're wondering whether or not you should use pucks or springs, let me tell you, the puck kit was about 220 bucks, I think is what they're going for. I bought those springs, the Ibach leveling springs, for 160. And it sat super nose high before, still sits nose high now. I'll do some devers in the rear at some point. But with removing the pucks and using just the spring, the truck drives so much better. It's great. For 160 bucks versus 220, Ibach leveling springs all day, every day. And that's it on the outside. The other modifications I've done are in the engine bay. Let's go there next. Wait, it's a V6. Just kidding, I love it. Two things you can see, one thing you can't. First and foremost, previous video I've done on this, it's the Super Raptor intake. Take a look at that if you're interested in what's going on here and why I bought it, and my reviews, my thoughts, the install. The second thing is, I'll grab a light here and show you, is the Radium dual catch can kit. I went back and forth between the Radium and the Mishimoto kits, and when I reached out to the companies, the response I got was what determined ultimately which one I bought. I'll do another video on it won't be an install video, obviously, because it's already installed, but I'll talk to you about my general experience with both companies. I will say, if you're wondering whether a catch can kit is good or not good, aside from the aesthetics and it looking kind of cool, which is, like I mentioned before in other videos, it's part of the game. When I took off the PVC tubing to hook this whole thing up, there's a lot of gunk in there. And so I've had this on for about 1,000 miles. I'm gonna wait till about 2,000 miles before I pull it off and check it. But I'm guessing that I'll get something out of it. The other thing which you can't see is I bypassed the factory electronic blow-off valve so I could make this sound. I'll talk about that in another video. Super easy to do, super inexpensive, and not too obnoxious. And that's it, that's everything. That is it for today's video, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the overview of my new to me 2018 Raptor. Like and subscribe. Take care. Cheers.